Hello, everybody. It's Dana Sullivan, the Stampin' Chick, here with you for another Make It Monday. Today, I am going to be talking to you guys about the Signs of Santa Stamp and Die Bundle. I cannot get enough of it. It is probably my absolute favorite out of the entire holiday catalog. I just love it. Okay, now, I'm not going to show you how to make a card, even though this card is super cute. This is actually going to be one of the projects in an upcoming card class that I have, and it's featuring this fabulously flocked candy cane striped paper, which is so pretty. And then it's got this nice little fun official seal of the North Pole. And then Santa, of course, and this sweet little sentiment, wishing you everything on your list and more. It's super adorable, but I digress. That's not why we're here today. Today, I'm here to show you a little bit about the suite itself. That's the word I'm looking for. So the reason why I'm showing you the card, though, is to take a good look at Santa. You might think at first glance that this is the Santa that's from the paper pack, and I just happen to have the paper pack right here, and I want to show you. See, there's Santa from the paper. And here's my Santa on the card. So when you lay the two side by side, you can actually see a little bit of the differences, right? The coloring in his list is a little different. On his beard, it's just a little different. His hat has the flocked paper here, but on here it doesn't. And his cheeks are just a little bit different. So you can see some slight variations. But if you didn't have the paper here, you might think that this was a cutout of that paper. Now, the reason why I am showing this to you is because I'm going to show you how to make this Santa look like this so that you don't have to worry about running out of Santas on your paper. Because if you're making your Christmas cards or you're thinking about making your Christmas cards, then you know you only have a handful of these little Santas all together. And if you are familiar with the bundle, then you know that the stamp set comes with these absolutely fabulous dies, which I happen to have Santa right here, having already cut out one of the stamps that I did. So you can see that the dies perfectly cut out the little images on there. And so, I mean, it doesn't do all of them, but it does quite a few. It does Santa, it does the two little elves, and then the other paper, it does Mrs. Claus and the North Pole sign. And it's just absolutely fabulous. Like I said, this is probably my favorite set of the entire holiday catalog. So, anyway, let's get to this so I can show you how we're going to color Santa, okay? So the first thing that I did, of course, was put my photopolymer stamp on the block, and I used some of our Memento black ink, and I just stamped it on a piece of our Whisper white cardstock, like that. And then from there, I lined up the die, ran it through the Big Shot, and that's how I got our little Santa, okay? So now you know, you're up to date, you're caught up, you're ready to rock and roll. Okay, now for the coloring, because that's the uber important part. I used Poppy Parade, I'm sorry. I used the dark Poppy Parade for his hat and his coat. So the dark Poppy Parade. Black is already done, and even though it seems kind of faded on the blank image, once you add that red in there, it just pops. So, and then the same thing with the white. I'm going to show you a cool little shading trick using the light pool party marker. This marker in particular is ideal when you're coloring images that have white parts on them. So white like his beard and mustache, his brim of his hat, and the little pom-pom on top, and then also on his list. And what it does is just give a little bit of texture and dimension and some shadow to the white parts. It gives it some feel, some dimension. So you definitely want to have the light pool party marker for anything that's white. So that's a must-have. Okay, so we've got the dark poppy parade. We've got the light pool party. The next thing I'm going to do is Santa's belt buckle. And for that, I used the light and the dark mango melody. Now, you could also probably use the Daffodil Delight, but I find that the daffodil is more yellow, and I wanted it to be more gold. So I used both of the colors just to give it a little bit of dimension and texture as well, because if you're coloring one color solid, it doesn't necessarily give it a real feel, but once you add the two colors together, the light and the dark, it makes all the difference in the world. And that's why I highly recommend buying the combo, not just one or the other of the markers, because inevitably you're really going to want both of them. I mean, they just make all the difference in the world. And then for his face, I'm going to cheat a little bit. I'm not going to use a light and dark combo. I'm actually going to use the light pink pirouette and then the light flirty flamingo. And I find that this pink pirouette gives him a nice little pale color to his skin. And then the light flirty flamingo gives the little rose to his cheeks. So that's the markers that I'm using, and then the stamp set, the black ink, and you can make as many Santas as you want. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get right into it, and I'm going to use the Dark Poppy Parade, and I'm just going to color in the big parts of his hat. Now, I'm not the person to tell you a particular way to color. I'm not the world's best colorer. So I just fill it in the way that I fill it in, and I like it, and I move on. So, okay, we're going to go ahead and do his jacket. There we go. And don't forget his little sleeve over here on this side. You really need to make sure you catch that part. I missed it the first time around, but my daughter was looking over my shoulder the other day when I was coloring this guy, and she said, "Isn't that his arm?" Yes, it is. Okay. And I'm just going along. Now with his jacket, if you wanted to do a little bit of dimension, give it a little bit of character and movement, you can add some shadow by simply coloring over it again. So I've colored in all of the red coloring, but if I wanted to go back and maybe add a little shadow underneath his belt and buckle, you know, I can just go over it again a little bit. There we go. And then we'll let it dry, and then if we want to, we can go over it again. I mean, when you're coloring, you can do whatever you want to. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and do the buckle, and I'm going to start with the light mango melody, And I'm just going to color the entire thing. And you'll see that it's this nice light yellowish gold color. And then I'm going to come in with the dark. And I'm just basically going to kind of go along the middle of it. There we go. Just like that. And then I'm going to bring the light back in again. And I'm going to cover the entire buckle. There you go. And then that's how I get the little bit of dimension and texture in the buckle. Isn't that easy? All right. Now I'm going to take the pink pirouette. And I'm going to do Santa's little finger here. I'm going to do his hand over here. Make sure to get his ears. And his face. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to color his whole face. Of course, I'm going to avoid his beard and mustache. Just go right over the top of his face. Just like that. And you'll notice that it's really pale. The pink pirouette is just a really, really light pale pink. So it's perfect for Santa's flesh. And then we're going to take the light flirty flamingo. And we're just going to put little circles right about the corners of his eye. That's roughly where his cheeks are. Just like that. And then once it dries, it's going to be gorgeous. And then we're going to take the pool party. Now, if you notice, I saved it for last just to show you the difference. And I'm hoping that you can actually see how much of a difference there is. It actually looks like there's a shadow here and gives the entire image of Santa a little more depth and dimension, as opposed to this Santa that's just flat. And even to say, oh, well, it's just the background. No, because look. You see, he really does have more depth and dimension just by adding that. And it seems so trivial, but a little thing can make all the difference. So let me show you how to do that. We're going to imagine the sun is coming down at Santa this way. So if the sun is coming at him this way, then that means this is the side that has the light at it, right? Which means that this is the side that has the shadow. So with that in mind, I'm going to see this little bit of his pom-pom is in the shadow. I see this side of his hat is in the shadow. I see this side of his mustache has more shadow. And this side just has a little bit towards the bottom. You see there? And then this side of his beard, and actually I missed that right there, but I'm just going to go ahead and add that. This side of his beard has more shadow. There we go. All right. And then let's do the paper too. So we'll just write about where the folds would be if you imagine the paper was curled up over itself. Obviously, there would be a little bit of shadow right there. There'd be a little bit of shadow down here at the bottom of the paper where it was getting ready to snake its way back again. And then there'd be just a little bit of shadow right here on the back side of the paper. And then there you go. So now your Santa is colored and beautiful, and textured and ready to go on any of your Christmas projects. Isn't that fabulous? And it took us little to no time at all. And listen, I am absolutely not any kind of an artist, so if I can do it, you can definitely do it. And the Stampin Blends are really and truly the artist here. I mean, they're what really make it wonderful. So I certainly couldn't have made it look good on my own. So anyway, thank you all so much for watching this Monday. Make It Monday. I really appreciate you guys. And if you'd like to order any of the supplies that you saw here this evening, you can go over to my website at danasullivan.stampinup.net and you can pick up your supplies there. And if you have any questions or need any help with anything, you can find me over on Facebook and you can send me a message there at Stampin' Chick Stampin' Up. Thank you guys so much for watching and have a wonderful night. Bye-bye.